Broadcasting the boisterous part of the fastest game in the world. So strap on your lids and lace them up, Rook. You're listening to the BarnChirpers Hockey Podcast. Take a lap.
Clap it up, boys.
Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Hulkster, what's happening, buddy? How we doing? How's the body feeling? We're in off season. You got your off season camp ready? You all ready and set?
I haven't laced up the skates in months, friend.
Well, that's okay. You're looking lean and mean though, buddy. You're getting ready for that off season pre camps and stuff.
Boy, I got to tell you though, like it has been a busy off season in it's only been a week and a half, 2 weeks, and like it just has been nonstop since the draft.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely the first day of free agency was off the chain. There were so many moves being made. We don't have enough time to cover all of those moves that were made on the first day of free agency. But really, since that first day of free agency, it's been kind of quiet.
Right.
With the exception of a couple of major moves that we're actually going to talk about today. I believe that you have for us here on the starting lineup.
Yeah, so let's get the first line out there. Hold on, I got the.
Well, Justin does that. You can follow us at BarnChirpers Pod on the Instagram. You know, we have a lot of things that we talk about, obviously puck related, but so if you want to chirp at us about a past episode that you have a comment, have a take, have a chirp for us, feel free to send it over to us at BarnChirpers Pod. We would love to hear it. If you think that we're wrong and stupid, feel free to tell us that. We're not going to get offended by it, but we would get a little bit offended if you don't just give us a 5-star on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, on any podcast platform. If you could rate us 5 stars, that would be great. We can get to the top of the algorithms for hockey podcasts and show your, well, I guess it's ours, but maybe it's yours too, the Norfolk Admirals, that we are an awesome hockey podcast. We would love to be a part of the Norfolk Admirals ECHL team.
That's right, baby. Big move here.
Major move, as a matter of fact.
Before we talk about like the specifics here of this move, I love this deal for the Wings. I really do think that they're a few players away, and Alex DeBrincat could be that player.
He very well could be, yeah. Actually, I have I don't necessarily if there are takes, but I guess I have two feelings on this move. I'm going to Tarantino this by saying my second feeling on it is I also love this move because Alex DeBrincat can be a superstar player. He can be. He has the ability to be a superstar player. He has scored 40 goals twice in his career, once in 2018, 2019, and the second time in 2021, 2022. In both seasons, he played all 82 games for Chicago. I mean, the thing with that is he had Patty Kane saucing them and dishing them sweet, silky smooth passes, all the time. He was playing with Patty Kane. So, I do feel like he needs somebody to give him the puck, right? Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know if he is. I think that to me the jury is still out on if he is a playmaker type player to make his own offense. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like at this point, and I guess I'll put a pin in that real quick. His year in Ottawa, he scored 27 goals, 39 assists, so 66 points. So he was passing, the puck. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's actually where his wheelhouse is. Maybe he is actually that playmaker and not necessarily the goal scorer. I guess the jury's going to be still out to see what he does in Detroit. So pause that. Let's go to my first take. My first take was like, oh, man, Detroit's really given up a lot of assets this offseason, this free agency period. Obviously, we'll get to this specific trade, but so my initial thought was, oh, man, I don't know if I like that. I mean, I called the Wings to be a cup contender in 3 to 5 years 2 years ago, and I first initially saw that. I was like, oh, man, I don't know. But then to think about it more, everything I just said about DeBrincat and what he can bring to the table, the potential there. I do actually I like this move because Detroit also brought in Daniel Sprong, which is a good depth guy. Mm-hmm. They brought in Klim Kostin, good depth guy. So I'm here for it. I'm here to see what happens.
So they deal off Kubalik, Donovan Sabrango, a conditional first-round draft pick in 24, and a fourth-round draft pick in 24 from the Wings. The Wings get DeBrincat, the Sens get all of that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the conditions real fast first, or do you want to jump in the reason we're talking DeBrincat?
No, I think let's cover those conditions because there's a lot to cover on this conditional pick.
So I got it right here. You sent it to the page, and this is from
at BarnChirpers Pod for anybody just tuning in right now.
Right, and we're reading this directly from the Daily Face-Off Instagram page. Here's the conditions, Joe. The initial condition on the first-round pick is as follows. The Red Wings will have the option of sending their own 2024 first-round pick or Boston's 2024 first-round pick previously acquired on March 2nd, 2023 to Ottawa. However...
Easily, yeah, we can understand that. Pretty simple. All right, okay.
Easy. But... wait, there's more. However, if the Bruins' 2024 first-round selection is an eventual top 10 pick following the annual draft lottery, Boston will have the option of retaining the pick and transferring its 2025 unprotected first-round selection to Detroit.
Okay, so if Boston turns out to be a really crappy team this year and they end up in the draft lottery, then they can choose who they're going to send, who they're going to send to Ottawa. So if we'll stop right there for a second, if Boston turns out to be real crappy this year, Ottawa loses this trade big time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But wait, there's more. The Red Wings will then have the option of sending that draft pick or their own first-round pick in 2024 to the Senators to complete this trade.
So I feel like it's a bit far-fetched to think that Boston is going to go from the best team in NHL history to a lottery team this season. Obviously, anything can happen, but I find that really hard to believe. So I don't feel like Ottawa is going to get totally schmoozed on this draft. I feel like they'll probably end up with the Red Wings 2024 pick, more than likely.
But the crazy thing is here, and this is why this came up. So DeBrincat lands in Detroit again. Everything on paper. I like the move for Detroit. I like the ability, the possibility that DeBrincat brings to as being a possible big piece that they needed.
Yeah,
but he just got to Ottawa last year, and Ottawa gave up a bunch to Chicago to get him.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I think it had something to do with he didn't want to sign long term. Was that the deal?
Yeah, he didn't want to sign long term in Ottawa. I guess from what I understand, it wasn't that he didn't want to necessarily leave, or excuse me. The way I understand it is that he would have stayed in Ottawa for a shorter term and still like the same amount of money, like a lot of money for a short term, from what I understand. Well, Ottawa wanted to lock him up long term.
Right. Well, of course they did, because they made a lot of moves last year, and they were on the up. Like, they fell short of what we thought they could do.
Yes.
So like, I don't know, maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was, but like he essentially forced his way out. Like,
he did,
of what essentially wasn't a bad situation. Like, is Detroit a better situation for him than Ottawa?
I feel like that's hard to say, really, because I feel like they're kind of equal at this point right now. I mean, just looking at we'll cover this as off season progresses on this show, everybody. But just speaking of Detroit's roster that they brought in just this off season, JT Comfort from Colorado, Klim Kostin, like I mentioned, Daniel Sprong, Justin Hall from Toronto, and Alex the Lion from Alex Lyon from the Florida Panthers.
Nice.
I mean, and they signed James Reimer too. But anyway, so like Detroit's brought in some solid pieces to this team. Gostisbehere too.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, on their back end, they have Ben Sherratt, Shane Gostisbehere, and Justin Hall, Mo Sider, Ollie Mata. So you got a solid on the back end. Ville Husso and Alex Lyon, great, solid net minders. And then young guys for the most part on the front end there. So, I guess they brought in Austin. Or no, he was there last year. Just kidding. Never mind. I was going to say something else. But it's a young team, I feel like the situations are pretty similar in Ottawa right now.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a lateral move, I think. I don't necessarily see it as a plus or a minus for him to go to Detroit from Ottawa. I mean, maybe not having to play in Canada. I don't know. Maybe there's less pressure. I don't know. Maybe, go ahead.
So then my next question before we move on to because there's another big fish out there that's trying to force his way out of, I say big fish. That wasn't on purpose. But did Ottawa receive enough back for the haul that they gave to Chicago to make up for the one season that they had DeBrincat?
I don't remember the entire haul that they got for DeBrincat, but because they gave up first rounders to get DeBrincat, did they not?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So I would say no.
Yeah, right.
I would say no because, so Kubalik is the only actual NHL guy. The other guy is just a prospect. So what was his? I don't even remember what his name is. That's how insignificant he is. I mean,
yeah.
Not sorry, but literally. Yeah, man. So I mean,
Sabrango.
Yeah, he's just a prospect. So, I mean, Kubalik. I had him on my fantasy team last year. He's a guy that can put up some points, but he's not a 40 goal scorer.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I feel like Ottawa kind of got hosed, to be honest.
Ultimately,
they gave up so much to get DeBrincat last year, and now they're not getting really anything in return now.
And they got 61 points out of him the year that he was there.
Exactly.
And not that 61 points is necessarily bad, but if you're giving up, a bunch of first rounders.
If you're giving up first rounders, you expect at least 100 points.
Right.
I think.
Failed experiment.
Yeah, so Ottawa got in return a guy that scored 45 points last year. 20 goals, 25 assists, 45 points. He played all but one game in the season, so he stayed healthy. He seems like he stays pretty healthy.
So he's probably a second, third line guy?
Yeah, maybe. Probably third line, I would say. I feel like he probably slots in on the third line, but it might be the second line in Ottawa. I don't know.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Ottawa definitely got hosed in this deal because, and again, DeBrincat forcing their hand, he wanted out. So it's not like, on the trade market, when you're trying to make a trade, it's really where multiple offers are on the table, where the team trading away their superstar can get more of a haul. These guys are offering 3 first rounders and a prospect or whatever. Okay, well, we'll offer 3 first rounders, a second rounder, and 2 prospects, and half whatever the case. There's a lot more negotiating. In this case, DeBrincat's just yeah, I'm not signing long-term, guys. So I just want out of here. So that really kind of handcuffs Ottawa to what they can do, considering the however many teams he said he would go to. They could literally, just like the Patty Kane deal to the New York Rangers,
yeah.
Hey, here's a 8th or 7th rounder in 2026 or whatever the case. It's just Ottawa definitely got hosed in this deal.
So that takes me to the next big fish out there, and I've now said it twice. This time it was on purpose. Karlsson wants out of San Jose. Still no movement on that. Last I saw, the favorite landing places are Carolina and Seattle, which Seattle doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Carolina makes a lot more sense. But how do we feel about this the players, wanting out? Because he did the deal. He inked the pen, or he put ink to paper in San Jose, the big contract. Should he just suck it up and play it out, or does he have the right to get on out of there?
I mean, I think he does have, like, I guess the right, if you will, to say that he wants out. But the trade deadline would have been a great time to trade him this last season. And from what I understood, that he didn't hear anything about leaving San Jose at the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I haven't heard anything. I'm staying here. I'm happy. I'm pretty sure he said I'm happy here in San Jose.
Right.
So now you want out? I don't know. I mean, I believe he has, I'm just trying to look for it right now. I believe he has 3 or 4 more years on that deal, maybe 5. I don't know for certain. I've been trying to find it. I wasn't prepared for this. But I was looking for how many years he had left in his contract. But either way, I mean, yeah, man, like, I feel like you got to suck it up because, again, the same thing. The Sharks are going to get hosed whatever deal that they make. Because they're going to have to retain like 50% of his salary, which is, I believe, $10 million.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're going to have to retain 50% of that. And again, when you're like, oh, I want out, that's going to handcuff the Sharks of what they're going to get for him. So they're not going to be able to start a rebuild if they don't get anything for him. So, yeah, you're kind of screwing over your team, bud.
Right. And the Sharks have already, I mean, what has it been? 3 like low years in a row now. Like, I feel like they were relatively competitive when he got there. But it's been on a steady decline since. And they moved Meyer last year, which, hey, I appreciate. But they got a first round pick from that. And then they got a couple pieces, which I think they even let Janssen go. They may have retained Zetterlund. So they move Meyer. They don't get much from that. And now you've got this one last big piece that wants out, that if he goes to what does Seattle have or Carolina have that is going to be beneficial to San Jose in the long run, which is what they need.
Yeah, I mean, also, yeah, not only that, but like, I mean, if he goes to Carolina, then he's playing with Brent Burns again, and he didn't want to play with Brent Burns. Like, they sent Brent Burns away, I believe, because Karlsson and him butted heads a lot. I mean, they played with each other for so long, but they're both kind of offensive defensemen. So, I mean, Burns goes away, and all of a sudden Karlsson has his best year ever and wins the Norris, So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, either of those teams, Seattle or Carolina, have in the farm to give San Jose. And again, like, how much are they really going to give up if those are his 2 spots that he wants to go? You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to give up that much because they know that he wants to leave. So
exactly. So
either way, again, you're just really handcuffing the Sharks. So it's kind of a dick move, honestly.
So I guess to kind of close out the thoughts on it, it's okay that he wants out, but the fact that is out and we know that is not cool.
Right. Yeah.
That's what screws the pooch, because I can understand if you're Karlsson not wanting to be in San Jose anymore. Like, if you've been there for 3 years and clearly the team's going the other way and not wanting to go through a rebuild, I get that. But why do we know that?
Yeah, I mean, you should keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he does have 4 years left on his deal. He signed it in 2019 for 8 years. So
inked for 8 years in San Jose, man. Like
in San Jose, yeah. Signed 8-year, $92 million contract. 8 years. 8 years, 92 million, Justin.
Man, I feel like you can ride out 4 years. And the West is kind of
so yeah, it's 11.5 AAV.
Whoa.
Whoa.
No one's got that kind of cap room to take that.
No, nobody's gonna take on 11.5 for 4 years.
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
There's
not
nobody.
A chance. And even if the Sharks retain half of it, like that's still so. Now I got to do some math here, real quick.
$5.5 million.
Yeah.
Per year.
Right.
Good Lord.
So, Jesus, man. Yeah, nobody's going to take that. And that's been the conversation this whole time, is that nobody's going to take that contract, and not only, let's see, what would be, what's 50% of that? 23.
Yeah. Ish.
In total, right? In total from the 92. Yeah.
Right.
$23 million.
It's not happening, bud. And then, like,
yeah, no matter what, it just screws the San Jose Sharks. No matter what, like, you sign the deal, suck it up.
At least until the trade deadline.
Well, again, like you easily could have asked for the trade at the trade deadline, and they, considering the season that he was having, could have gotten more assets for him at the trade deadline. Like, he might come out this year and just he might, like, that negative, that dash 30, whatever he was, that we talked about a couple weeks ago. He might just come out this next season and be dash 50 with like 10 goals.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then what? I'm paying you $11 million a year to stink?
Exactly.
Come on, man.
So it's very possible. Obviously, a lot of times guys have career years in contract years so they can cash in and make the big bucks. He's already making the big bucks. So, yeah, he had a career year. But, I mean, is that going to stick around for another year? For 11.5? For 4 more years at 11.5, Justin?
You hope, obviously, but what are
for the Sharks' sake, you hope so. But, I mean, I don't know, dude. It sucks for the Sharks, to be honest. It really does.
I love that franchise, and it's hard to explain why. But
I want to read this to you, Justin, real quick. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to read you Erik Karlsson's point totals for his whole career. Okay.
Okay.
You ready for it?
I'm
starting
ready.
Back in 2009. Okay. Ready? 26, 45, 78, 14, 74, 66, 82, 71, 62, 45, 40, 22, 35, 101.
So he had the 180 and a couple 70s. Wow.
Yeah, and so third year in, 78 points. Okay. 2 years after that, 74. Okay. 2 years after that, 82. Oh, okay. 71, 62, 40, 40, 20, 30, 101. So where's the consistency?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry. So we know that. Let's see. Let's average out. You got a calculator handy?
I can in 3 seconds.
Okay. So this is just for what he signed that contract, right? For $92 million, San Jose Sharks, 8 years, right? Okay. So average these numbers out. 45 plus 40 plus 22 plus 35 plus 101 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
48.6.
So that's his average. So he's going to get you 47 points on average for $11.5 million.
And he got the bag 4 years ago. So like it's where did he come from? Like where did they sign him from?
Ottawa trade.
Ah, okay.
Well, yeah, it was basically like a trade and sign because he would have been an unrestricted free agent.
And so I don't know. I don't understand how he got the bag. Like, I mean, again, clearly he has the 101 point year this year. So it's like, I get the potential, but this is kind of like to the point that we were just talking about a couple weeks ago about PLD.
He's had 5 years in his career where he wasn't a dash something. 5 years.
Wow.
And they weren't amazing numbers. 16, 8, 7, 10, and 6. Every other year in his career, he's a dash.
11 mil, Joe.
$11.5 million.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Justin. 11.5. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, well, this past year he had hella offense.
Yeah.
For his one time in his career. Like, get out of here. Like, I wish you could rescind contracts because, dude, like, he is not worth it. Not worth $11.5 million. I hope nobody offers anything for this guy. Like, let him rot in San Jose, honestly. I hope he hears this. Rot in San Jose and collect your $92 million.
Yeah, man, you wanted the bag so bad. You got it. Now stay put, friend.
Seriously. Yeah, because, dude, you are worth 2.75 AAV. That's what you're worth. Legit.
So
you're not a superstar.
No. So let's get on the penalty kill here, man. Let's try to wrap this up because we're doing 2 this week. You guys won't know that, but we do.
You guys don't know that, but we know it.
So let's get on the penalty kill. I'm going to ask you this question and answer it as fast as you like.
Okay.
So far, we're 2 weeks into the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Who's had the best off season so far?
Honestly, I mean, the team that we talked at the top of the show. I mean, you got to give a little bit to the Wings. Bringing in again, like looking at the roster, like the Wings don't have like a superstar scorer, so I'm hoping that they still have something else in the wings, if you will, pardon the pun. But I mean, bringing in the guys that they did, JT Comfort, like we mentioned at the top of the show, Klim Kostin, Daniel Sprong, like those are guys that are good depth guys. Gostisbehere is going to put up some points. They got a strong back end and 2 solid goalies. So, like, they made a lot of really good moves. Second, I would go the Maple Leafs. Like, they made some good moves. And, you know, honestly, the Ducks have made some moves, you know?
Yeah, man.
And really, I would probably put the Ducks tied with Toronto. So, like, solid 1 ABC, really. Yeah. I think the Ducks have really made some solid, but Nashville's made a couple good moves too.
Yeah, dude. Nashville's made huge moves.
So yeah, I mean, the offseason is looking pretty good so far. I'm really excited for what the season is going to bring next year. But yeah, man, like, you know what? If only Corey was here, I'd actually give him some props. Philly's made some solid offseason moves and signings as well. Bringing in Hathaway for some grit.
That's good.
You know, so it's but yeah, I'm gonna go with Detroit in a optimistic light. Yeah. But if I was gonna make a solid pick, the Ducks got to be ranked high for bringing in Killorn, bringing in Gudis, and I mean, what's his name? Leo Carlson's going to play this year, more than likely.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I'm here for it. But yeah, I'm gonna final answer say the Ducks.
All right. So, two things I want to tag on. Number one, do you think they did enough and to keep Gibson there? Because he's another guy who's asked out. Does he stay or does he go?
I don't know. I mean, I still think he walks. I do, because even though they've made some solid moves, I mean, I feel like it's kind of, well, okay, great, but
yeah.
I mean, where do you expect us to be still? Like, those are good, solid pieces, but are they going to win 40 games, 50 games? I don't know. I mean, the Pacific is still the Pacific, so it could go either way, truly. But I like the moves they made, but are they going to be able to beat Vegas?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's a tough question.
That is a very tough one.
I still think Gibson walks. It's tough to see him staying, truly. I mean, 14 wins last season. Like, woof.
I mean, the guy deserves it. You know, this is one of those situations where it's like he's been there his whole career, and they've been not good most of that time. So
most of the time, they've been not good. So, I think he walks, but I wouldn't. I still would trade for him, get some assets.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but who knows? He might stick around to, see the changes that the front office has made to bring in some guys. But again, they don't. Well, I mean, they don't necessarily have. I guess Zegras. I wouldn't know if I'd call Zegras a superstar. I think Zegras is on the uprise, but I wouldn't call him a superstar. Troy Terry, he's a goal scorer, but I wouldn't call him a superstar. So yeah, I don't know if I'm John Gibson, been around Anaheim for as long as I have, and you've, played with guys that are superstars. Or actually, I take that back. He wasn't around in the Solani days. Just kidding. He hasn't played with any superstars.
Yeah.
So, I'd probably go on the trade market and get to a contender in my last couple of years,
Yeah. So I second your Nashville. I love the moves that Nashville has made. And they made a push late last season anyway, and they haven't
with nobodies with an AHL team.
Right. So they brought in a couple good pieces, Luke Shen being one of them. I'm a Luke Shen mark, maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. I want to give a little side note, a little side love, because I trash them all the time. A little love to Arizona making moves. I like.
Yeah, they did actually. They really did.
And so the rumor mill, the Tarasenko move, I don't think has come down yet. I think he's still out there on the market, but the leader in the clubhouse is the Carolina Hurricanes. And if they land him, there's a line out there of Bunting, Aho, Tarasenko. And I hate it because I love it. Like, what a line. And that's probably their second line. That's insane.
Yeah, and then, of course, when Svechnikov comes back to be healthy and Teravainen, like those, throw those guys. I mean, shoot, you could have, wow, that just kind of blew my mind right there. Honestly, you could have the first line of Aho, Bunting, Tarasenko, a second line of Jarvis, Kotkaniemi, and Svechnikov, a third line of Jordan Stahl, Teravainen, and I don't know, whoever else you want to throw out there, Martinook, and then your fourth line could be whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, that's
whatever depth guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty stacked line.
Yeah.
It could That could be nasty. It could be nasty.
And then last note, hate to give it to him, but the Pens have made some moves too, including my guy Gravy. He goes over. I knew he was leaving. I knew there was no way we were retaining him. We got too many demon in the tank. So like, I'd rather lose Graves and give the full-time spot to Hughes and see what he can do full-time up with the big boys. So
yeah, I mean, they signed Noel Achari as well. They brought over Lars Eller, former Cap. He's a good depth guy, third, fourth line guy. Pretty good at faceoffs. Like you said, Graves. They also brought over. Why am I missing?
They brought over Ned from Detroit.
Oh yeah, Ned. Yeah, Ned's a solid tender. They have 4 goalies right now.
And they just re-signed Jari too.
Yeah, they signed Jari to a big contract too.
Yeah, I think it was
that was
5 years. Yeah,
4 or 5 years. I forget exactly. I just thought of one other, and then I lost. I mean, Justin. I mean, we always talk about it, but the Devs kind of made a couple of big moves. Signing to Foley.
Yeah.
So that's signing to Foley and Meyer.
Yep. So, and Bratt.
And Bratt and Eric Halla.
Yep.
So
yeah. They're I'll throw this out here because I don't think we've said this on the air. But the rumor mill is saying Hellebuck, and I'm all for it if it's a rental. I don't want to lock in Hellebuck to a long-term deal because that's another guy who's going to want too much money. We have Schmid in the pipeline. Let's give him another year to cook. Depends on what it takes to get him, I guess, is the big question. Some people are saying we're going to trade Vanny for Hellebuck. It's like, you hate to lose him, but
I mean,
give me Hellebuck. Give me Hellebuck and put Schmid behind him. I'm in it.
Hellebuck for a year?
Yeah.
Why not?
And then, Schmid can be ready to be the guy next year, hopefully. Hopefully Schmid progresses more and he's the guy next year.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, the Jets did sign Laurent Brosson.
Yep.
And they signed a backup in the last couple of days too, Colin Delia from Chicago.
That's
right. They essentially have a starting and a backup goalie.
Yep.
So all signs point to Hellebuck is definitely out the door.
Right. And so that just means, where does he go? And
for how much money?
Yeah. So hey, look, if he doesn't cost too much, I would love to rent Hellebuck because to me, that was the only thing we were missing last year. And
anybody, any contender, somebody who's just outside of being a contender, getting Hellebuck would be a huge, huge return. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, Edmonton, what are you doing? Like I said on this show, sign Gibson, you're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Gibson to Edmonton, I love.
Hellebuck to Edmonton, you're going to win the Stanley Cup.
It's true.
So
Edmonton or Hellebuck to New Jersey, we're lifting the cup.
Could possibly, very well be. Could very well be.
Let's go.
Hellebuck to the Capitals, exit second round.
I'm sorry, Joe, but I think you guys are a little bit further away.
Not even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Kemper was not your only problem, even though he was a huge problem.
I fully agree.
All right, man. So I guess we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got back to full strength. I think we killed it off. So again, at BarnChirpers Pod on the Instagram. If you want to chirp at us, tell us we're stupid or that you love us. Either way, we won't get offended. So at BarnChirpers Pod, and subscribe on all your podcasting platforms. Give us a 5-star. We would love that. We would love to get to the top of all the hockey podcasts in the world so we can show our and your Norfolk Admirals of the ECHL that we are the top hockey podcast and we want to represent them and call maybe some Norfolk Admirals games or at least cover them. Either way, that would be great. So, Huckster, you got anything else?
That's going to do it, baby.
All right, stick taps and sellies, boys. Clap it up. Later,
boys. In the recording, boys.